No,
Oh,
but doesn't mean you can't explain it. Give me an example. I think her.
I don't even remember what it was about, but I'm trying to remember it. But it was something.
I think her Valley Girl acts like her Valley Girl tone throws people off majorly.
Yeah, that's fine. But I
Lie,
mean, she
lie.
writes it.
I think she's
Yeah,
a bad communicator of her ideas sometimes.
maybe.
But I see the kind of questions she asks. Like, if you pay attention to the kind of questions she asks and then how she understands things, it's indicative of pretty sharp TI to me. It's that she's not good at communicating her ideas or um, her FE is bad too. In a way that she's not really so sure of when to interrupt and when it's okay to interrupt. And also, she's trying out a lot of things in here when she's in here. It's more for like um, brainstorming, almost like
Yeah,
handy-ish.
maybe.
But
But I still haven't figured her out, and that's okay.
well, it's taken me a while to be honest. I didn't like Courtney for a while. I thought she was annoying and disruptive. And then I was like, oh, she's cool as fuck. And she's smart as shit. It's just that she has a hard time at communicating sometimes. And she looks at this place as like free flow thought, like not coming here to be judged. I don't think she necessarily judges until she's judged. So I see her as one of the least judgmental people in here until she's judged, and then she'll judge the fuck out of you. So she comes in like kind of like, well, she's entertaining everything, including herself, including new frameworks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I just haven't talked that much to her.
Yeah. I think she got pretty upset with some of the stuff that people had said about her as well.
What kind of stuff?
Well, there's a blankie that we have reason to believe was Roman that was commenting on her physical appearance. Pretty heavy, like saying she has buck teeth and stuff. And then saying that how disgusting like jolly people are.
Yeah,
And that kind of that upset her pretty quickly. Among other things that I know are a little bit more sensitive that I'm not going to get into. And then people talk about her relationship with Taylor too. So. And I don't think she's particularly used to um, getting upset about that stuff because she doesn't really dish it out too much. I don't think she's just not necessarily used to receiving it.
I don't really dish out too much either.
Yeah, that's why I thought you two would get along because you don't engage in conniving bitchness. Neither does Audra.
Audra just sits back there with her fancy coffee and her cigar.
Audra's my shit.
Watch the circus.
Yeah, Audra, we were trying to figure out how I'm always part of the circus. How the fuck I get dragged into all this shit, always.
Yeah, you do seem to.
You sort of dive into.
You kind of dive in. I wouldn't say that anybody drags you in.
Okay.
Sometimes you're like, how dare you upset this room?
Yeah.
This place is not all about you and your shit. And before you know it, you're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that I still that there recently has someone the new FE police are I much prefer Nick's method.
I missed all that.
I was just gonna say that I like, as annoying as it is when you do the FE police thing. I like the ENTP version better than the ENFJ version.
The messy version, aka?
Oh, just yeah. I was just thinking about that, and you're like, okay, because you can be argued with.
Because you can be arguably, is what I heard last.
I said you can be argued with. The ENFJ FE police, not so much.
Huh.
That's my theory. That's why we were on the topic.
I was almost convinced that I was an ENFJ.
Oh. Well, you're, of the few I know, you're the least. You don't seem to annoy me like they tend to so far.
I see there's a new video on the channel. I reckon Taylor made something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to take it seriously when I had enough people make the claim.
Well, I figure that you can figure it out better than the rest of us.
See, but that's where some people really can't figure it out better than the rest of us.
That's the truth, but I don't know. You seem to have a handle on things, and you seem to honestly explore the things. I think that's what most people lack, is the honest, openness to consider the possibilities.
Depending on who it's coming from.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the opinion from anywhere else. I mean, it's just in general, you probably went through quite a bit of thought process arriving at.
I tried to destroy the whole model for at least a couple months before accepting it.
Yeah. Also, you're not into socionics as much, so you.
What does that mean?
It's interesting. I have a operating hypothesis that I'm just kind of playing with, but at the very least, ENTPs and I would say often INTPs. Anyway, they tend to go backwards, and they start reducing it to smaller pieces, like going back towards Jung, I think, and certain people, and I'm trying to correlate it to type or function or something, go the other way, and they try to keep complicating it.
Oh, I hate that. I
Extreme
fucking
degree.
hate that. I'm at war with that. I'm at war with that. I think that's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, and they get so obsessed with the model and somebody else, and it's always about somebody else's model. That's the thing I've known, and I think every ENTP in here that studied it for very long probably has. We have our own model in our head that we just kind of vaguely we associate it with the closest one that's written down out there. I mean, that's how I operate.
Make it simple and make it make sense.
We'll try to figure out what.
And then make it complicated. Once you get that down, then make it complicated.
Right, but the point is to figure out the actual core underneath it and like what you're actually inferring.
Yeah. Once you
the
have
observation isn't the
once
point.
you have a solid basis.
The point.
Once you have a solid basis that is simple and consistent. And I'm sorry, but either an E or an I, an S or an N, a T or F, or an F or a P or a J is consistent.
Right, but you're talking about, I mean,
and then go.
Like for me, my interest is always about the cognition, so I always go back to what. It's always a theory to observe, to try to indirectly, more or less, categorize cognition differences, and so I always go in that direction.
That's what that's doing essentially is the same thing.
I'm not TE in this thing. I'm not here for practical, relation, how people actually talk to, like, I'm not here for defined practical reasons. Like, that's not why I study the theory. Analyze cognition. But I've just noticed that there's, of the models that are presented, the way that certain people go about approaching models is notably different.
I think the ENTP way is a bit more messy on the outside, but it's more simple on the inside.
Yeah, well, we start with a model and then we go, because I mean, it probably was the third time I went back to studying analytical psychology at all, which is kind of this last time around, that I started building my own model. Like, I started really looking at it serious enough, and then inevitably, like, I started forming my own kind of amalgam of all the stuff.
Me too. And I guess, and I don't explain it that well, mine anyhow, because I try and make it sound simple because, well, I'd suck Richard Feynman's dick if it was in front of me. And he made a lot of sense. Try and explain it as if you're explaining it to a 2-year-old or a 4-year-old.
Right.
And try and do that. And once you can do that, I think you got a good understanding of it. I mean, work your way up.
Yeah. This is one of the things. You got to go both, right? Like, I usually start and I go down and dig deep, and it gets messy, and then you can start simplifying things again.
Yeah, and I think I've already enough time on here, and you've already gone deep.
Well, and then the application version of simplification is very different than a simplification of the actual theory you're applying.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about the actual theory. Yeah, so I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I'm speaking in terms how to type people and then.
Right. Well, you're talking about a simple way that is consistent, that applies consistently over the theory that you've built underneath it.
Yes, in a simple manner.
And the thing is that to type people to apply it, people don't have to understand it.
Mm.
You're just trying to apply it to them.
Well, and I try and type people in sales. I'm typing people in sales now.
Right.
Sometimes if I'm building, a long enough relationship.
Yeah.
If it's a quickie, you better not even try. And unfortunately, mine have all been quickies lately.
It's always interesting. I haven't got to I've been playing around with it a little bit lately with actual people.